people who detested God, detested the Torah, and so forth. But in order to gain legitimacy, they incorporated religion. How did they do that? They found a few rotten apples. In other words, they found a few scholars who are heretics and so forth, but they were very knowledgeable, and they were willing to sell their souls, or they had long sold their souls, and they gave them respect. They gave them this great respectability in the communities. They gave them a big paycheck, and they made them their rabbis, chief rabbi. They made a rabbinate and a chief rabbi, even though we have a rabbinate that's still existing till today in Jerusalem, and that is absolutely, we do not recognize the Zionist rabbinate, but we have a rabbinate. But they made a rabbinate, just like they used the Star of David, and they made so they made a rabbinate, and they took these guys. And then they come along, and so now how did they justify this position that they're taking to be pro-Zionist? So the first step is they said, well, yes, they cannot refute the fact that we are in exile. Every Jew says it in his prayers. We say it because of our sins. God put us in exile, not because we were lacking physical prowess, but because of our sins. And every Jew knows that you're not allowed to leave exile. So what they did was they started twisting tweaking it. They said yes, but also God told the Jews, do not attempt to end exile. But he also warned the nations of the world, do not oppress the Jews when they're spread about amongst you and the nations. Have compassion on them. Don't oppress them. So they're saying, being that the Jews were so terribly oppressed, therefore that negates and nullifies the oath of exile, and therefore we are able to leave exile early. That is one of the main arguments of Zionism. And
can I ask you? Can I interrupt you there and just ask you? I want to share something with you, because this is a kind of so-called spiritual title deed which even atheistic, secular, non-practicing Jews use for their own experience. I just want to share the screen, Brother Muhammad, and then I'll ask the rabbi to comment. This is a well-known passage. I don't know if you can see the screen, but is the screen present now, Rabbi? It's basically
yes.
There. This is the common utilization from different. I've got from the King James, New King, and these are all Christian study Bibles. Christian Zionists use this as the I'm talking about the evangelicals. Pat Robertsons and John Hagee's and so on. I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, or the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And this is basically, right. This is the so-called spiritual title. Christian Zionists use this as a basis to justify the existence of the state of Israel.
Yeah.
What would your response be to this, to them? If you're addressing them, yes. How would you educate this lot?
Well, again, I would say to them, look, I'm not going to delve into your religion and tell you how your religion should be or should not be. So I'm asking that we should have the same respect dealt to us, that in our Judaism, we have a clear authorities of the rabbinical authorities that was passed down from Moses to Joshua, and further to the Zakanim, and first goes down to our generations. And all the rabbinical authorities, as we put out the book, The Rabbis Speak Out, which is a compilation of all the major rabbis from around the world, Sephardic, Ashkenazi communities, and everyone in their own style said that there is no question about the fact that we are required to be in exile, and that we are forbidden to attempt to reestablish even 1 centimeter, 1 inch of Jewish sovereignty, even in an uninhabited land, and certainly not by killing or stealing. And the whole concept of Judaism is to believe that the Almighty rules the world. It is within his capability, and when he wants, in the blink of an eye, he will end exile. But till that day comes, we are required to be in exile. That is the command of God. And when the Zionists came, it was a joke. It would be a joke if it wouldn't be for the terrible Nakba, the atrocity that emanated from the Zionism. When they came along, who were they? These are people who are coming along and they want nationalism. They weren't even interested in Palestine. They wanted to go to Uganda, to Patagonia. They wanted a lush a productive land. And the only reason they ended up in Palestine is because exactly they wanted the Christian right to come along and support them. So they said, we need mass backing to make a land, so we'll turn to Palestine and then wave the Bible and say and count on their ignorance, basically, of the Torah teachings, and we'll say to them, this is the land that God gave us. Yes, it says in the Bible what you said, that God gave us the land. And we believe ultimately the day will come when there will be, as I say, a revelation of the Almighty's kingdom, and all humanity will go up together and join and take the Jewish people up to the Holy Land, where we will serve God in harmony, all the nations, but it will be the will of the world. Of course, Islam, Christianity, they have a totally different concept of the end of time, but they do not deem us a threat, because our end of time is different, because we're never allowed to make any, to preempt or to make any steps to acquire this end of time. It's because it's not a physical concept. It's a spiritual concept. We cannot take a gun and shoot ourselves out of exile. That's ridiculous. God put us in exile. There's no possibility of our trying to shoot against God. God says you're in exile. You must remain till when the Almighty will make this spiritual happening, where the world will serve God in harmony. All the nations will join together and say, let us go up together. The sheep and the wolf will rest together. When you'll show me the sheep and the wolf resting together, then you'll know that we're at the end of time. So this is not a concept. Zionism is a purely nationalist movement that's simply illegally, illegitimately, unacceptably using the religion as a front, as a facade, to intimidate, to silence anybody who dares to speak up, and to turn to Hagee and to all these Christian rights and say, hey, come on, let's go, support us. They're the ones who are supporting. Why is it, you tell me, why is it that around the world, invariably, the most religious Jewish communities, whether it is in Mea Shearim, that's the heart of Jerusalem, of Al-Quds, where the very religious live, or you come to New York, where the second largest community in the world of religious Jews, right across from Manhattan, you can't miss it, in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, the most concentrated religious Jewish community, where they're very religious. They give their lives for the religion because they have private schooling. Everybody sends their kids to private schools, and we have families of an average of 6 or 7 children because we don't have family planning. It's forbidden for us. So, and everybody gets married at a young age. We have large families. So it costs us education, kosher food, Jewish clothing, Jewish attire, and on and on and on. We give our lives for our religion. Yet, there is not one Israeli flag flying in our communities. The same as in Canada, Montreal, or in England, in Stamford Hills.